I love my baby sister. She used to make me laugh, but she had a broken heart.
I feel like Vanessa's life was here for a reason, even though she was here for such a short period of time. For us, it seems like she was here for a lifetime. She changed our lives completely, and now we're on a mission. And our mission is to find a cure.
After dealing with having a critically ill child and ultimately losing that child, you are faced with having to go forward and either be consumed in self-pity, or else you can focus that anger and frustration on something constructive and positive, and that's what we've chosen to do.
She left her footprint, and we want to leave a footprint, and we want other people to feel like they want to leave a footprint as well, and help other children and find a cure. That's how we will fix this, finding a cure.
The Dale family came to my attention because they had a daughter who had severe dilated cardiomyopathy, a form of heart muscle disease.
Dilated cardiomyopathy for the average person means that it's a disease of the muscle of the heart, where the muscle is too thin and stretched out, and so the heart can't squeeze and pump blood to the body like it should.
The pump, instead of squeezing like this, is squeezing like this. And so the problems with dilated cardiomyopathy is that you have the potential for things like heart failure, sudden death, or heart transplantation.
My son, Brock, who is now 5, was diagnosed with cardiomyopathy. It's a progressive disease. There's not a cure for it, and so they're still learning a lot about it. And last Sunday, he had a heart transplant.
Children that have dilated cardiomyopathy tend to act like the average child. They look normal, they play normal, but over time it becomes obvious that they just can't keep up with other children that are their age, and often have signs of heart failure like you see in an adult that just has a sick heart.
Dilated cardiomyopathy affects anyone at any age. In adults, we think of dilated cardiomyopathy most commonly associated with coronary artery problems. People don't think of it happening in children, but it happens commonly in the youngest of children, including kids who are days of age, who are at the highest of risk. The difference is in childhood, it's not because you're obese or you drink too much alcohol or you smoke cigarettes. It's because you have typically an underlying genetic problem, and it obviously is a tragedy not just for that child but for the entire family.
We were just devastated that I couldn't believe doctors couldn't fix this. I mean, it was just amazing to me. Are you kidding me? You can't fix a heart? You can do miracles, not fix a heart.
When families are impacted by a child who has significant heart disease, particularly one that goes on and does not survive, families are in a situation of having to struggle with that outcome.
We decided after Vanessa passed away, our hearts were left empty, and we felt like, now what? This is it? We're going to feel like this forever? What do we need to do? We need to do something before we went crazy. And that's when Ron decided we need to establish a foundation. We need to do something where we will raise money to help out children and families who are going through what we did. And Ron decided he was going to run the Houston Marathon, and that was going to be a way for him to raise money.
I said, you know, I can sign up and run this marathon, and we'll just throw it out there to our friends and family and see if we can get some pledges for however many miles I can finish. And we had initially set a goal that we'd try and find 100 people to donate $1 a mile with a $2,600 goal.
Within the first 2 hours, we surpassed that. We were at 5,000 the first 2 hours from just compassionate friends and family that went through our journey with Vanessa with us.
That was just such a successful event then that it carried on to the next year. And the marathon actually called us and asked us to be an official charity of the marathon in its second year. So it's going to evolve from that.
And so that is our biggest fundraiser right now for Vanessa's Big Heart Foundation. And that's the easiest way and the funnest way to raise money.
Completing a marathon is a very empowering thing, to know that you're helping a worthy cause.
I think it's a little bit easier to push yourself to the end when you know you're doing it for an actual reason. Some good is coming out of what you're doing. Something at the end is going for a good cause.
My mommy and daddy have been running in the marathon for Vanessa. When I grow up, I want to run the marathon too. I think everyone should run in the marathon because it will help kids with broken hearts.
Janie and Ron, instead of falling apart in their own grief, they did something that would change the lives of other children and bring about a disease that most people don't really know about. And so many people are actually touched by it but don't know it. There's many children that are dying with cardiomyopathy that didn't even know they had it. And so they're actually going out there trying to do preventative things to stop children from falling down on their basketball court and having a heart attack who had this disease all along that nobody knew. And so I think it's somewhat preventative. Anything you can do to stop something before it gets to the tragedy that happened to the Dales.
Vanessa's Big Heart Foundation is set up by the Dale family in order to educate, to help research, to really make a difference. And their mission is not just for themselves, but for everyone else that would be negatively impacted. And it's a very giving thing for this family to be doing.
Ron and Janie have created such a foundation that provides so much funding for not only research to treat congenital heart disease, but also to support kids that have congenital heart disease and dilated cardiomyopathy.
All the money that we raise for Vanessa's Big Heart Foundation goes directly to Texas Children's. It goes to the research done at Texas Children's, and it also goes to Camp Pump It Up, which they run.
They support kids that go to Camp Pump It Up, which is a fantastic camp that lets all of the kids that have heart disease play and be normal for a week.
Our heart is at Texas Children's, and we need to help them through Vanessa's Foundation. We need to find a cure for this disease, and the way to do it is through research.
The Texas Children's Heart Center is such a great place to be at, both as a physician as well as a patient, because we're always asking those questions of what's wrong with this picture and how can we make it clearer. Without research, we're never going to be able to take this disease and erase it, a big problem.
Through research is truly the only way that you can change the course of any disease.
Texas Children's has a history of being one of the leading research hospitals, and they have found cures for other children's diseases. And we now have an opportunity to find one more cure.
Medicine and science is moving very closely, tightly linked together, hand in hand with patients. And I think we're running towards a finish line that's getting closer. And this kind of research is critical, absolutely critical, for us to get to that finish line, and I'd love to see that happen.
With this organization being able to grow as it has, I think it's making a direct impact now, but certainly as it can grow and help the doctors and help the scientific community come up with some answers to this horrible condition, I think it certainly could be a cure in the future.
I think that the research that's being done, particularly at Texas Children's Hospital, Dr. Tobin's labs, is on the forefront of medical research, and that we know so much more about the disease than we did previously. I think that there will be a cure, and it's only years away.
It's my hope and it's my prayer that we're able to help raise money where the doctors can find a cure for it other than a transplant, because a transplant certainly is not a cure. It's an exchange from one set of problems to another.
The only way for us to positively impact what is the problem is to do the research necessary to figure out the problem and come up with novel approaches to the diagnosis and care of these particular patients. And the only way to do that in the current era is to have research money to be able to do it, and frankly the only way to really do that is through donation.
There are people dedicated like Dr. Tobin and their staff who dedicate their life to research. Childhood heart disease doesn't have that much support, and that is why I would think people would need to step up and look into it and bring this heart disease to some awareness and let other people know what's happening and how they can help.
I think people should donate to Vanessa's Big Heart Foundation because it's an inspirational, educational foundation that was created in loving memory of a child that lost her battle with dilated cardiomyopathy.
If I could take the money out of your hands and put it directly into the hands of the doctors, what a great feeling that will be, and what a difference that will make. We want to get to the day where at some point we go, guess what? We know why this happens. When we get to that point, then my heart will relax.
The future in congenital heart disease is growing leaps and bounds, and there's a great frontier out there. We can make a big difference in all of these children's lives with the right funding and hope.
I would certainly encourage anybody that was willing to give funds to Vanessa's Big Hearts to know that it is going to a worthy cause, that it is going to help research, to help treat kids with big hearts.
You've got the ability through this organization, I think, to really make your dollars count very directly.
Vanessa's Big Heart Foundation is a qualified charity under the IRS code, and all of our proceeds do go to support our cause. I assure you we have the lowest overhead expenses of any other charity around, and we intend to keep it that way.
I think Jamie and Ron are absolutely making a difference with this foundation. They've done amazing things, and they've provided so much funding so far to research that they have played a front role in developing a cure for dilated cardiomyopathy.
I think that Vanessa's Big Heart Foundation is a mission to find the meaning and purpose of why our 4-month-old daughter was given to us and ultimately taken from us. We know that she was here for a purpose, and if we don't ever find that purpose, then we're going to do a world of good in her name while we seek that.
A lot of people say, I wish I could help. You can. You can. And this is what we need. This is what we need. Join our team. Let's get ready. Let's go run a marathon.